Welcome to Brainworms and Tangents. My name is Pamela.
And I'm Carissa.
And we are two 20-somethings with ADHD on a quest to chase our impulsive ideas we can't shake. This is a self-growth podcast that is all about becoming who you want to be, one brainworm at a time.
So Pam, I hear you have a brainworm.
Lately, I have been thinking a lot about reading and specifically summer reading programs. Have you ever participated in a summer reading program, like at the library?
I have never participated in a
Really?
summer reading program. No, not to my knowledge.
I'm shocked. This was
I
a
know.
staple of my childhood, is going to the library, signing up for the summer reading program, and then earning prizes based off of how many hours, usually it was hours or books that you read. And you would have to track your reading on like a cute little tracker sheet that the library would give you. And then based off of how many of those you filled out, you got different like entries into raffles and like different little prizes.
That sounds so fun. What kind of things did you win?
I remember distinctly in my mind that I won astronaut ice cream through it. And I think I was a little disappointed that it wasn't real ice cream. You've never had astronaut ice cream. It's like freeze-dried ice cream.
Yeah.
And it was also Neapolitan flavored. And I don't know if this is just like my experience as a child, but like I remember like my parents would buy Neapolitan ice cream from the tub, but we wouldn't like eat all of it. I would like only eat like the chocolate section, and like my sister would only eat the strawberry section.
That's funny.
And like my parents would eat all three, but it was like, you know, we'd each have like a section of it. So I was also just kind of like, well, this freeze-dried ice cream doesn't, it has all three sections and I only eat the chocolate section. So this is just, not ideal for like my brain, I guess, at the time, but still a pretty cool prize, particularly like ice cream.
Was it space themed?
I think it was like that theme of the summer. It was space. And that's the thing with the summer reading programs is that there's always like a theme and the prizes kind of surround it. And like the tracker obviously like is decorated to that theme.
Mm-hmm. That sounds so fun. Yeah, that was never a part of my childhood. Like, when I think back, I remember in school we had reading logs that our parents or guardians had to like sign off on, of like how many pages did you read, and then people started just having like forging their parents' signature because they weren't reading.
My parents would lie for me.
Yeah, I'm like, but I never read in the summer. Maybe I was just doing other things. I don't know.
Well, did you ever have like assigned reading during the summer?
When I got into high school, we had summer reading, but never like as a kid. I don't really remember. But I think I probably read a lot more as a kid, like elementary school, because I think there were so many more series when we were younger, or like series aimed towards kids. Like I remember I read all of the like Junie B. Jones books.
Mm-hmm.
There was this series called Dork Diaries. Did you ever read that?
I didn't read Dork Diaries. It was called Dear Dumb Diary.
Oh, I read that too.
That one. Yeah.
Those were so good.
They were really good.
And like all the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. So I do remember like, I don't know, I was a big like series kid. I was always like waiting for the next book in the library. But I don't think I was reading in the summer. So, but I don't know why. I had so much more free time in the summer than I did during the school year.
Yeah, I was a big reader when I was younger because I didn't have cable growing up. Up until a certain age, I think my parents caved and got it in like 4th grade or something. I think we weren't doing well socially, so they were like, we'll get cable so you can relate to other kids. Because like kids would be talking about like different things on Disney Channel of like, did you see the new Cheetah Girls movie? And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
What?
NPR is on the weekends. But because like on the weekends, the only thing that you could watch was like NPR, I would read all the time. It was the only thing to do. So I would always read it. Then I think when we got cable, I stopped reading. And that was around the time that like you actually started getting assigned books in school for reading. And I would never read any assigned books. Like, I don't know, just maybe it's the ADHD, like the undiagnosed in childhood that I was like,
Yeah.
I have no motivation to do it. I'm not going to do it. And even through high school, I never read any of the assigned books. I just kind of understood what was going on based off of the class discussions, and I still did pretty well. But I didn't. But I was thinking, do you remember that we had an assigned reading book in college?
Yes. I did not read it.
That was insane. Why? Like, you are so excited to go to college. You're like committing, and then you get an email saying you have an assigned reading book. Wild.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When did we get it at orientation? Was that when we got the book? Or
I think at orientation we were supposed to discuss it. Or maybe during no, it was during like welcome week that we had to discuss it. And we got like broken up into groups to talk about it.
Groups.
We had different ones because we
did have different ones.
We're not in the same year.
Yeah.
Mine was Spare Parts by, I don't remember who, but George Lopez is in the movie version of it. But your assigned
my book was Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance. Oh my gosh. And I didn't read it. And I remember I got a free Audible subscription because I was like, maybe I'll have someone else read me the book. And I think J.D. Vance read the book on Audible. And I kept falling asleep listening to it. So I finished the book, but only in my subconscious. Yeah, I did. I still have the book. I actually just lent it to a friend. No. And I apparently have the first edition of the book, which apparently has stuff in it that the second one doesn't. But I don't think I realized then who J.D. Vance was going to become. So
no one really knew who he was. He wasn't super relevant in politics.
No.
Maybe he was to people super into politics, but everyone was just like, this guy, we had to read his book.
Yeah. Well, and the weird thing is we had a University 101 class, and I remember my TA for the class was J.D. Vance's cousin, and my professor thought that was a crazy thing. So we would always just ask her questions about his book. Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't read that though. I still have it. Still have not read it.
I've heard it's kind of weird and has some inconsistencies. Yeah.
But I've never liked assigned reading as well. So I remember I would look up, I think it was the Cliff Notes or Spark Notes at the time for the book, but that only got you so far. And I had to write a book report in the 5th grade on this book I never read, and I did very badly on it. So, but I don't know, something about having all summer read a book makes me not want to read the book. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I don't know if it's the ADHD thing of struggling with deadlines when the deadline is so far out. It's well, I have so much summer left. I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
And then I think by the time you're oh shoot, school is starting, and you're I'll read it, but then that's not enough time to read a whole book. So you just don't.
Yeah. And I don't know about you. I feel I often get very distracted when I'm reading. I'll, even if I have no physical distractions, I'll be reading something and be oh, I stopped reading and I'll have to go back. Or if I'm am with other people or something and reading, I'll realize, oh, I never flipped the page. I'll get to the bottom of the page, look around, and then be oh, I've had to reread several pages or just paragraphs because I'm not really comprehending what's going on.
Well, honestly, I have the opposite problem. I forget that I like reading and forget that I get into it. So I'll be I don't want to do that. That's not fun. That's going to be boring. And then if I actually do force myself to read, once I get started, I can get lost in a book and I can really focus. But it's just I don't know why I can't convince myself that it's something that I want to do unless I'm very motivated to do it. But I have really been working on my attention span when it comes to reading. And I just, it's a product of and we've talked about this so much, just phone usage and like a short attention span, and just how all these companies and ads are taking over our attention. But I've really been trying to train myself to focus on reading because I know that it's something that I like, and it's just a good way to try and reclaim your attention a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, so I started with just like audiobooks, because I at one point my attention was that bad that I couldn't just listen to an audiobook and get through it. Like I would zone out, and I was like, this is a
Mhm.
problem. This is a really big problem. So I started with audiobooks, and then it got to a point where the audiobooks weren't fast enough. Like, and I really don't like listening on like 2 times speed or 3 times speed. It
Mhm.
just, I feel like it's hard to understand. But I found that I can read a lot faster than I can listen. Like, and I can still
Mhm.
comprehend it when I'm reading, but I can't really comprehend if I do like 5 times speed.
Yeah.
So I got to a point where I was like, okay, audiobooks are not fast enough. I have to read. And then that really helped me build up. And it took a little bit of like having to refocus and make sure that I'm still reading the page. And like you said, sometimes rereading the page. But I've gotten
Mhm.
to a place where I feel like I can really focus in on a book.
I mean, I kind of agree. Like when you were saying, like you forget that you like to read because I would only read like nonfiction books and like memoirs and stuff because I was like, I don't want to read fiction, whatever. And then a few summers ago, I started reading Funny Story by Emily Henry. And that was a book where I had the physical book, I got it from the library, and I was reading it so much that I was like, what's happening to these characters when I can't physically read? So I was listening to it when I was driving, and I was like using the audiobook format as a way to just like maximize my time to get through this book so fast because I wanted to read it all the time. So I've listened to things like, like walking, driving, showering sometimes if I'm just like, I need to finish this book. So I think it's nice to like supplement it or even to like use an audiobook to get you started into a book and you're like, okay, wait, this is actually getting really good. Let me just start reading it. But I don't like how people think audiobooks are like, I don't know, like a cop out. Like it's not, you're not getting the book when I think you said like it's all about the information knowledge sometimes, but it is the attention span thing too.
Here's where I stand on the audiobook debate is that I don't believe that audiobooks are reading. Like, I think it's a different act, but I
Mhm.
think that it's still a valid way of engaging with a story. Like, if
Mhm.
you go to a book club and one person listened to it on audiobook and the other person read the book with like text, they can still have the same conversation as if, they both read the text.
Mhm.
I do think that it's a different skill though. Like you are just using
For
a different
sure.
muscle, and one isn't better than the other. So like someone who reads books might not be able to listen to an audiobook because they just don't have that skill of like listening. It just different ways that you take in
Mhm.
information and different muscles that you have to work. But like, what does it matter if someone listened to it? Like, isn't the point to just like know the story and engage with
Yeah.
it?
I've seen the immersive reading trend and then like the hybrid reading trend where people will either listen to an audiobook while they have a physical book with them. And then like the immersive is more so they'll be like listening to like ambiance of whatever like world or like thing that the book is talking about. I think that's fun. I think if there's ways to like enhance the reading, but I think you're right. I think I'm a visual learner, and I think sometimes with audiobooks, I'm like, wait, what are we? It just becomes noise at some point. I'm like, hey, we have to go back. So
Mhm.
it's definitely like not an all the time thing, but it is nice as an option. And I think I started doing audiobooks a lot more when Spotify Premium added the like 15 hours of audiobook usage, like with their premium subscription, because it just opened up the world of audiobooks. Because I was using like Libby, which I think is so great through the library, but I had to wait for some of these things. Whereas Spotify, everyone can listen to the same book at the same time, and it's right there, and it's included. Because I think it used to just be Audible, and you'd have to have an Amazon account and all this. So I like that they're more accessible with that.
And I found the same thing. Like when a book has a super long hold line at the
Hmm.
library, typically I can still get it on Spotify, which I don't understand how people are finding out that books exist before they're released. I feel like I am the last to know about these popular books. And by the time I go to request it, there's literally 1,000 or like 3,000 people on the wait list. And I don't get it. How are we finding out? Is there like an email list of like books that we're all about to be reading? If so, I would like to be added to it.
It is just so funny though, like how books will become popular, because sometimes it's because of like a TV or movie adaptation and then everyone wants to read the book before they see the adaptation. Other times it's just like, whoa, everyone's talking about this book. And I know there's like Reese Witherspoon has her book club. There's like the Oprah Winfrey book club, and then obviously all like the New York Times lists and things like that. But I don't know where these people are getting their, here's what we're reading this summer, everyone get your books.
And sometimes people do make videos and they're like, hey, everyone, we're reading this. But then still, I'm too late. I want to know when that person posts of what we're reading.
Yeah.
But you talked about like multitasking with reading audiobooks. And I'm thinking back to our 75 Hard experience where we could only read a nonfiction book and it had to be a physical paper book.
Yes.
And that was so frustrating because we couldn't multitask with that. It was just so hard.
The Andy Frisella way, the inconvenient path. And I think we talked about this on the episode about 75 Hard, but his purpose and like intentionality was to like physically having to carry on the book is inconvenient. And it was more about visually seeing the progress that you're making like through a book, which I think you can still get the same satisfaction of like seeing a progress bar on a Kindle or an audiobook. But he was very adamant about the physical book and the nonfiction part, which I think makes sense. But I do think it was very restrictive on purpose. But yeah, people have all these opinions about what you need to read and like the forms in which you have to read them.
That idea that you can only learn things from a nonfiction book is also interesting because there's some nonfiction books that I'm like, this is just like not true, really, like that aren't super factual. And there are fiction books that are super interesting. They teach you a lot about people's worldviews, and just like through creating the story, you learn a lot. And I've actually heard of, oh my gosh, I don't know what they called it, but essentially it's the idea of pairing a fiction and nonfiction book together in order to learn. I think I heard it in the Wild Geese episode. We're big fans of wild geese on this podcast. But essentially, when you pair fiction with nonfiction, you get a really cool blend of worldview and perspective and depth while also having just the facts to kind of inform what you are reading about. And I think that is so cool.
Well, we were talking about this when I mentioned a personal curriculum being on like my summer bucket list, and how you could even add movie adaptations or TV shows or documentaries of just to continue to expand these things. Because I think if you have, books, I'm like, I love watching documentaries about things. So like, why not further the education that you're already going into and just have like, triple threat, fiction, nonfiction, and a visual aid to go with it. Or one of those like 3-hour-long YouTube video deep dives of someone going into a topic. But I think it's so helpful to, help you really visualize what it is that you were talking about. There's so many fun things you can do with reading. Speaking of multitasking, I remember how appalled you were when I told you how many books I was reading at one time.
Okay, because it was like too many. I also have multiple books going at the same time. Usually no more than like 3.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I had 5. I think I might currently have 5 books that are all actively being read at different points.
What's your strategy? Like, when do you read each one?
Well, I think sometimes it's books for different things. So I had like my book club book, and then I think I was listening to an audiobook, And then I had a book on my Kindle, and I like other paper, just like physical books. I don't know. I think the strategy is I choose to read maybe like, I don't know, one at different times, or this is part of a series, or I'm reading this because it's like gonna be a movie, or I've just been wanting to read things. But the hard thing is the success rate in which I finish them isn't always the best. Because I think I have a lot of unfinished books, and I wouldn't classify those as books that are currently being read.
I was gonna
But
ask,
I did not finish them. Like in my head, I'm still gonna finish the books. My follow through isn't the best all the time, but I think it's fun, especially if it's like a fiction and a nonfiction, to be able to like rotate. Like I don't think like I'm not getting the stories confused. I can understand like, okay, these are different things that exist. But I don't know. I think especially when we were doing 75 Hard, I was reading our book and then also a book for book club and a personal book all at the same time. But I know we did this because we were using Fable, which is an app that you track and log your books. And Pam was like, "Are you currently reading 5 books?" I said, "Yes." And I think it still says that. So I need to finish them, tie up some loose ends, and then get some books done. But yeah, I don't know. There's just something fun about switching things up.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Fable, what app are people on for tracking their books? Because at one point, everyone was on Goodreads. Like, that was the app. And then I think people slowly started to migrate away from it, didn't have as many features. I think people were really frustrated that you couldn't do, like, half stars. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not true. And people started moving away from Goodreads. But I feel like now people are on 2 apps, Fable and Storygraph. And things are kind of split, except for my one friend, shout out Claire. She's still on Goodreads. She gets really excited when my Kindle automatically updates when I'm reading to Goodreads because she thinks that I'm active on it. But it's only like some of my books.
Yeah.
But she's still holding strong on Goodreads.
We talk about like going way back to like the rapification of things. I think there's something very satisfying about seeing all the books that you've read on a display. And I think Fable has that fun like calendar feature where you can see the books that you were reading. You can have a reading streak. And I think now you can also log TV shows and stuff. But there's also the trend of just like book journals where people just are doing everything like physical. So there's so many ways, but yeah, I don't know. I've heard Storygraph is also super fun.
Well, Storygraph it's Black owned and it gives you a lot more stats, but the graphics aren't as cute as Fables. I think Storygraph is a much smaller team, so that's also why people appreciate it, that it's like a small business, small team, like putting it together. I think it might also be moms, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, who wouldn't want to support that? So a lot of people are supporting it for that. But I found that I just like how Fable looks a little more. And if it is for like the stats and the graphics, then I'm going for Fable. And I think I have more people on Fable. So I'm just trying to be where the people are.
Be where the people are. Yeah. My friend, shout out Catherine, she uses Storygraph. And I think Storygraph is nice because you can log audiobooks and it'll ask like how many hours you've read versus how many pages you've read. So I think like when you're doing like multimedia of that, you can distinguish them because it does feel weird sometimes logging an audiobook when it's like how many pages. And I'm like, I don't know what chapter I'm on and how that equates to a book. So it can be confusing.
Yeah, that was a reason that I downloaded Storygraph, because I did hear that you could log the format. I think you can even distinguish between it like a digital Kindle version and like the paperback or hardcover. And I was really intrigued by that, but I just didn't like the interface. So I was frustrated. I really want Fable to have the audiobook versus
audiobook. Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of Kindle, do you remember when you were like on the fence about buying a Kindle and called me and were like, do I or do I not?
I was trying to make do because I have an iPhone and I have an iPad and I had the Kindle app on both of them. And this was also at the beginning of my reading journey or I guess my, rereading journey since, like I said, very into reading as a kid. But I was trying to read on the iPad and my phone. It just like, it wasn't working. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's that like my phone, I use it for too many things and it was so easy to get distracted by a
Mm-hmm.
text or a notification. And I think the iPad was just too big and just
Mm.
awkward to hold. So much bigger than like most books would be. And I really wanted the Kindle screen. That way you can read like outside and it's easy to read in the sun.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's so different because my Kindle is barely bigger than my phone,
Mm-hmm.
but it really did help me read and really help me get into reading. Like the amount that I read after getting a Kindle went up so dramatically. And
Mm-hmm.
like even before buying it, I was like, well, I don't read that much. Is it really worth it to buy it? But like in this case, that investment really did pay off for the hobby.
Yeah. Well, I see people all the time, and I eventually also bought a Kindle. And I think it was one of those things where, okay, well, if I read 3 books on my shelf, then I can buy the Kindle. And I think, like you said, it did increase once you bought the Kindle. You didn't have to wait for something. I did the iPad thing where you like put it in black and white and you try to like mimic the Kindle feel, but it is just so different. It's different sizing, and I think, like I said, you're easier to get distracted by things. But it is nice that the Kindle app is there. So you do not need to buy a Kindle if you do not want to. You can get the Kindle app, you can do like EPUB files and stuff like that and still get the same, again, you're still reading the same thing. It's just a matter of, do you have do not disturbed on? Can you like fully like get into the book? But of all of like the options, like what is your go-to reading format?
I love my Kindle. Like it's pretty small, like I mentioned, which I did not know is small when I bought it. I have just found that out through people commenting on how small it is. Like it fits in my purse, like my little
Hmm.
shoulder bag. And like I'll bring it to the dentist and like everyone like comments like, "Oh, I love your little Kindle." And I was like, I didn't know it was tiny. I thought it was a normal size Kindle. But I do really appreciate the size because I can throw it anywhere. I can even fit it in my back pocket of my jeans, which is like
That's
super
fun.
convenient. So I bring it everywhere. I bring it to the gym. I walk on the treadmill reading my Kindle. So it has been such a good investment for me. I
Hmm.
do love the look and feel of books. Like I still get just like all giddy when I'm in a bookstore.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out when it makes sense to buy books because I'll get them from the library too, but like I just get so excited by buying them. And there's something about, owning media. I, gosh, I don't remember where I saw this, but it was talking about how we don't really own media anymore because everything is like streaming
Hmm.
or just, borrowed, and you're relying on someone else to curate media for you.
Hmm.
So, in purchasing and like owning something, you are able to curate your own library. And that was more for like Spotify and stuff. Oh, I remember where I
Yeah.
saw this. It was in Filter World, the
Oh,
book that I read. But it's kind of the same thing where
yeah.
some of these stories that I've really loved, I don't know that I would ever reread the book, but like
Hmm.
I want to own it. But I didn't even read it on real paper. I read it on my Kindle.
Yeah. I've seen people buy books as like trophies for finishing
Yeah.
them on their Kindle. But I think you're right. There's only so many things I would want to own. So I think if you can get it like secondhand or cheaper, because some books are expensive, or like, a small local like bookstore is different than Barnes and Noble or Amazon or something like that. But
Yeah, totally.
yeah, I still own plenty of books. And I don't know. I don't know what my favorite format is to read. I do say, like you said, the Kindle is very convenient. You don't have to lug around like a huge book. You also don't have to be like embarrassed about what you're reading either if you want it. So there is that. And I got my Kindle right before at that actually no, I got my Kindle at the start of the year. It's like a Christmas present to myself. And I knew I was going on a cruise and the Kindle is also like water resistant. So I was like, this will be great for like the beach or by the pool, and it was small enough that I didn't have to worry about bringing like extra books and stuff like that. So that is super nice. But I do think I like turning pages as well and fun bookmarks and stuff.
Yeah.
So speaking of summer reading, do you want to talk about our plan for the summer?
Yeah, so I was on a quest this summer to find a summer reading program that I can participate in this year as an adult. and it was a little harder to find than I anticipated. The Cincinnati Public Library has a really wonderful summer reading program, but it's for children only. But they
Yeah.
actually give away like tickets to the Reds game and stuff like that, which is really cool.
That's a fun
But nothing
incentive.
for me. So I went to a library, still kind of in the Cincinnati area, that did offer a summer reading program. It's advertised for all ages, so I think they just
Mm-hmm.
have some prizes that are catered towards adults. And I got the reading tracker. So if you are a video watcher, here it is. It's dinosaur themed this summer.
Yes.
So it's called Unearth a Story. And basically it's the same as I remember, where it is a tracker and it is either for every hour or every book that you finish, which feels like I'm on the unfair side of this. I have to read a whole hour when a kid is reading picture book in 15 minutes, but whatever. So when you read 10 hours, you get to prize 1. And then when you get to 20 hours, you get prize 2. And then I think after completing my page, every 5 additional hours is an entry into the grand prize raffle. So I'm very excited to participate in this.
Yeah.
Were you able to find a summer reading program that you could participate in?
That is the same one.
It's the same
as
one?
here
That's
at my
wild.
library. Yeah, and I didn't see like the tracker, but like I saw their booklet, and they also like are hosting dinosaur themed events for like teens, for kids, and for adults. So I guess that's just what Ohio's doing, dinosaurs.
Yeah.
This summer.
Well, there's so many more resources that the library offers besides just the program and books. You know, like you said, they're doing different events. And recently I just got Tamagotchi Life from the library.
No way.
I like have been wanting to play it, and everyone's been playing it, making their little Miis. And I'm like, I just haven't had a lot of time to play my Switch this summer. But I still like wanted to see what everyone was doing. And I found out that my library offers digital materials, including Switch games. So I searched it up. I got on the wait list, and it only took like 4 weeks for me to get it. And I could only check it out for a week at a time, which was the only bummer. But since like the save data saves to my Switch, I'm pretty sure I can just request it again. And then like I can spend a week playing it and then just put it away. So instead of buying this $60 game, I get to play it, which is really cool.
You just unlocked something. I used to do that with Nintendo DS games from the library.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, I remember. Wow, I had the High School Musical 3 game for my DS because there was a. Wow, I forgot about this. I was like, I don't own that. I was like, oh my gosh, I borrowed it. Yeah, I just remember you could do something with the like, I Want It All, Ryan Sharpay video because they had like a jukebox on there. Wow, that is so fun. But yeah, the library has so many things. There's like my local library, I mentioned you can like rent bikes and e-bikes for like 3 hours at a time. They had a whole bunch of board games, and then they have like a puzzle swap. So you can take a puzzle and you can give a puzzle, which I think is great because like I don't really like doing puzzles more than once, so you can just always have a puzzle. And I think they checked the pieces too, because there was like a section that was like free puzzle, missing pieces, disclaimer. So there's just so many good resources at the library too. Even today I went in preparation for the episode, and there was information all about voting and like the local elections and how to register to vote and like where to go to vote. There was all the information about like the nearby food bank and like free meals. There's just so much that you can get from the library. And I know others have different craft things. So like if you want 3D printing or to Cricut or just like there's so many things in the library and like free classes to learn how to use those machines. So the library is great.
My cousins and I, we were trying to use at our library, the Cleveland Library, a videotape to DVD converter. And we were talking about converting our old home movies to DVD so we could still watch them. And that's just something the library offers. Like, that's just amazing.
I think there's a big push for people to get library cards and go to the libraries. And there was this video showing like these different kits that you can check out for like different ages. So there was a whole thing about like shapes for like parents with like younger kids, but there's like a teen one about like came with like a yoga mat and different like yoga like videos, and then also one to help you like learn how to drive. So it came with like cones. You could just check out a whole kit and then return it. And I'm like, that's so
Wow.
fun. Yeah, this was a very fancy library. But I was just like, okay, they had like recording studios that you could use to like rent a study room. So I think that's so fun, especially like for like the larger cities. They have like multiple branches, and I know like different branches offer different things. So there's just, and you can have more than one library card too. So I think that's fun. So you
Yeah,
can go wherever you want.
I've been trying to collect library cards because it's nice for like digital materials.
Mm-hmm.
If an ebook isn't available on one, it might be available on another one sooner. So there's
Yeah.
um, the Ohio Digital Library that anyone in Ohio can get a library card for.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of different library branches that it doesn't matter the county that you're in, just as long as you're in the same state. So you can
Mm-hmm.
really go around collecting them. I'm up to 4 right now. So,
Yeah. Well, do you even remember like when we were in college, the like Ohio Link program, like through just all the
yes.
universities? So like if your public library didn't have something, the university library might, and then if yours didn't, don't worry, we can just get it shipped from, Cleveland, and it can be in Cincinnati in like 2 days. And I think
Yeah.
that's so fun. I just think the accessibility of it. But I think I was using it more so for textbooks and things that I didn't
Yeah.
want to buy. But I just think it's nice.
Yeah. We love the library.
We love the library.
Well, we decided that we love the library and summer reading programs and just the ways that we have been motivated to read when we were younger. And we wanted to replicate that for us and our listeners. So we are announcing the Brainworms and Tangents 2026 Summer Reading Program. How excited are you, Carissa?
I'm so excited. I think this is fun. It doesn't have to be for kids. It can be for adults that like to read. I'm very excited.
Yeah, so kind of similar to the traditional summer reading program, we made a tracker. So y'all can go to brainwormsandtangents.substack.com/summer reading. That is where you can find the tracker and all of the rules for our summer reading program. So on the tracker, for every hour that you read, you mark off one segment of the worm. And it is basically just to track your reading and motivate yourself. By the end of the summer, which we're going to say is the fall equinox, so September 22nd, you'll go ahead and on that site, you'll find a form and you can submit how many hours you've read. There is no minimum. Of course, no summer reading program is complete without prizes. So if you submit the form, you are eligible for 2 different prizes. The first prize is you can be a guest on our podcast. So you'll submit an idea, a brainworm that you have, and we will be selecting one person to be on the podcast and share their brainworm with us. Our second prize is chosen randomly from the people who submit their reading progress. And this is surprise brainworms merch. So we will be shipping that to one lucky listener who submits their summer reading progress.
This is so exciting. It's like, you can make whatever prizes you want when you're in charge of the summer reading program. And Pam made the cutest graphic with the worm. I'm so excited. Print it, I'll put it on my fridge. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, this will be your very first summer reading. I hope
Yeah.
it lives up to expectations.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I just think it's so fun, and I'm glad we're making it our own. So what books are we going to be reading for like our listeners if they want to read what we're going to be reading this summer?
Yeah, so we also have assigned reading, but it's more fun than that. And hopefully this
Yeah.
doesn't make people unmotivated to read it. But we chose 3 books. The first book is Devotions by Mary Oliver. That is a poetry book, which is a collection of poems by Mary Oliver. The second book is Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. And the third book is Girl's Girl by Sonia Feldman. I'm really excited about all three of these books. I've heard Devotions is just like such a good starter poetry book to get into. And it is all just about appreciating the world around you and kind of becoming one with the rest of the world. So I'm really excited about that. Have you heard anything about Mary Oliver? I feel like she's been really trendy lately.
No, I've heard nothing, so I'm excited. I used to read poetry books, I feel like a lot in high school, so I think it'll be fun to dive back into that world. And then Yesteryear was a book that the world decided that we're all reading this summer
Yeah, that's
that
one of the
Pam didn't
books
know about.
that, well, I did know about it. It's been on my to be read. But yeah, it's
Oh,
one of those books that I'm like, how did we find out that we're reading it?
yeah. My mom's already read the audiobook. She said it was great. So I'm excited to read that one. I think it's very on brand with some of the things that we talk about following trends. And
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting because it's
Well,
labeled as like a suspense. So,
yeah, it's about a woman who she's like a trad wife influencer and she does all of those things and then suddenly she wakes up and she's in 1855 and she like actually has to do those trad wife things.
yeah.
So I think that is so interesting and you're right, like so in
Hmm.
line with how everyone's jumping on these trends lately, but like are they actually wanting
Yeah.
to do them in real life?
Yeah. If that's your only option. Yeah. So that one seems fun. And I also don't read like suspense thrillers, and people are saying it has like a lot of twists and things. So I think that'll be fun.
Yeah. The last assigned reading book is called Girl's Girl by Sonia Feldman. And this might be the only book that I actually have found out very early on that it's
It's
coming
so
out.
new.
Yeah, it just came out like, what, 10 days ago?
10 days ago. Yeah.
So, as of recording this episode. But this book is an LGBTQ coming of age book that takes place in the early 2000s in the suburbs. And I just loved the idea of this when I heard about it because it just makes me feel so nostalgic for my childhood summers.
Mm.
So I'm really excited about this. I also love a good coming of age story. I love coming of age
Yeah.
movies. Like they're my favorite. So
Mhm.
I'm so excited about this book.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think we were talking about like finding a very summery book, and I think all of these, even if like they're not about summer specifically, I think will still be fun and hopefully give that same feeling. So, yeah. So whether you want to read your own books for the challenge, you can do so. If you would like to read along with us, those are the books that we're going to be reading. Do we have a plan of like an order in which we're going to be reading them?
I don't think so. Just finish it by September 22nd. However you feel
Yeah.
like you need to get to it. We'll put
Yeah.
reminders on our Instagram. So if you aren't following us on Instagram, that's a good place to check in with us.
Hmm.
We'll do some reminders of, hey, if you haven't finished a book yet, get on it.
Get on it. Get on it. Yeah. And we don't care. You can audiobook them, you can read them physically. Just just get the content.
Or you
I
know
will
what? Have
say,
someone tell you about the book. That works too.
yeah, read it aloud with a friend.
Yeah, watch a YouTube
They
deep dive on the book.
yeah. Yeah, whatever you have to do, just get it done by September 22nd. And if you want to read along with us, there is a long hold for Yesteryear right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so get in line quick, so you can hopefully have it by the time September comes.
Yeah. Also, check on Anna's archive. You can always
Mhm.
search Anna's archive wiki. The Wikipedia page will always have the most up-to-date website for Anna's archive because it keeps getting taken down. What Anna's
Mm.
archive is a huge internet archive of digital materials. So you can find almost any book on there. It is technically piracy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
technically.
So that's a only disclaimer, but it is
Yeah,
also
at your own
good to
risk.
archive all of the stuff that we have. Um, but sometimes there's a delay in things getting posted. So some of these books are a little too new to be posted there, but keep checking in on that.
And let us know what you all decide to read as well. So again, we'll be posting things on our Instagram, so feel free to comment the books that you're choosing to read, and maybe we'll have a virtual book club in the future of all of our things.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please share with a friend so you can have a little reading buddy this summer. Make sure that you subscribe to us on Substack, Instagram, TikTok so you can stay up to date with us. But we will see you next Wednesday as always. Bye.
Bye.